as he wants to be a number one and not a number two behind Flicks. And Alfie could be his teammate. Here we go then, Alfie to start us off in Suzuka round 11 for the first flying lap. Here we go then, round the final corner. Alfie to the line, the first lap of the day. What is it? It's a 1:36. Not sure whether that's going to be good enough. As we have Lachlan to the line, who sets a 1:38. His teammate a 1:31.4. And then Daniel gets a 1:37. It seems to be just bankers for now. Nothing too competitive. To the line, here comes Josh. It's going to be a 1:28.3. That's a really good one. And Christian to the line, championship leader, is a 1:28.5. There's not much to separate them. But Josh is currently on provisional pole. So I think there's front wing damage. There is front wing damage to Lachlan's car. Not sure what happened, but we did briefly see a yellow flag. I think there was a collision between him and another car. He's only on a medium run. We've seen him tend to do at the start of these qualifying sessions. And go for a medium stint before the softs at the end. Only 7 seconds down on his time. I'm sure this is just a in-lap. But they're all so close to each other, not backing off at all. Into the pit lane, they all come. Lachlan takes out the bollard, and he's hit his teammate, and again. And he's taken out the polystyrene pit wall indicator. As he's pushing his new teammate into the pit lane, which is a little odd. And over the chicane he comes to the final corner. This lap has looked very tidy from the Merc. To the line, it's going to be third fastest, 4 tenths off the Red Bulls behind. Or, well, ahead, I should say. 4 tenths off the Red Bulls ahead. And that's just 4 tenths off Christian alone. On of his own. And someone's in the gravel, and that's Alfie's in the gravel. And Daniel too, both Alpines find in the gravel. As there's not been one competitive time so far from Daniel to compete. So far he's not really been too close at all to Pepe in front of him. It seems an Alpine wants a slipstream behind. Here's Josh. Around the final corner. Here we go then. Will he improve? To the line. Josh will. It's a 1:27.9. He is in the 27s. As Lachlan, Alfie's 2 tenths up on his time. Lachlan's had a trip in the gravel on the soft tyre. We're going to see towards the line Christian. Here we go then. He's currently, I believe that was a 10th up on his time. To the line. He has not improved. Has not improved. As he's still quite a distance behind his teammate. Lachlan heads into the pit lane quite roughly as well. He's a bit off the pace at the moment of his run, and this is going to be his final run, I believe. Yeah, he spun it around the entry to the chicane. He has spun the car. That might be it for qualifying for him, unless he's going to go on and do another lap. He's crossed the line. I'm not sure what that means then. The car's crossed over. I'm really struggling to see what's happening. Pepe's into the pit lane. That is his qualifying over. So he stays P6 for now. Both Alpines are out into the pit lane. Out on track. Flicks has gone out onto the track as well. And so the Red Bulls. Louis on his final run. Into the chicane. It's looking fairly neat and tidy from the Merc. Round the final corner. Is he going to displace the Red Bulls? To the line. He does improve very slightly, but it's not enough. He stays P3. Here we go then. Will he improve enough time through the chicane to see pole position? Christian to the line. Championship leader. Is he going to do it? He does improve, but it's not enough. Christian stays second. Next to cross the line will be second in the championship, Flicks, who will be seeking out the title as he's only a point behind Christian. Over the chicane he goes to the line. He's only had one lap. Is he going to stick it on pole? To the line, it's only fourth fastest for Christian. Next to the line, Josh has abandoned his lap. Lachlan's off into the gravel. Alfie to the line will be P5. Lachlan will be P6. Daniel to the line will stay 8th, and that is it of qualifying. That is all over. But here we go then. 5 red lights for BRL round 11 in Suzuka. And away we go. And it's a brilliant start by Josh off the line, as Christian has fallen back just slightly as Louis got a really good start. Josh into turn 1 is going to be ahead of his teammate. As he started on pole, he remains in the lead. Christian manages to get back past Louis out of turn 2. Lachlan and Flicks are fighting behind for position for P4, but Flicks manages to remain ahead just for now. There's not been any movement up the order except from Louis and Christian, who are battling ahead, and someone spun behind. I'm not sure who that was. That's Christian. Christian's spun and lost all the places, so he's now P7. Someone's gone off into the gravel up ahead, and I think it was Lachlan. Alfie's now P4. As Lachlan comes close and he bangs that front wing on the rear of Alfie, and they continue on. Flicks is P3, Louis P2, Josh is P1 up ahead. The championship leader is P6 after I think he had a bit of contact with Louis up ahead. And here's these two former teammates. They had a bit of a quarrel midway through the season. Lachlan then forced himself to leave the team to Aston Martin, and their rivalry continues on as they've made contact for position. To the outside, Lachlan's going to go. Is he going to make the move? Round 130, oh, he does. Lachlan is P4. What a move by the Aston Martin, and Christian's found his way onto the back of the Alpine as Flicks has managed to get by Louis up ahead to make that P2. Christian is now P5, so he's gotten past Alfie. Seeks another position in Lachlan. Is he going to dart down the inside? I don't know whether they made contact, but Lachlan went off the circuit. Christian is by, and so is Alfie. They're going to battle once more. They're going to bang wheels, the two drivers. But Lachlan remains ahead in P5. It's been a chaotic start to the Grand Prix. These two Mercedes drivers. Louis has managed to retake P2 off his teammate, as that's only going to hinder his chances with the title, as Josh has a 2-second gap to Louis. And it's sort of settled down now. There's only a second between these three behind Christian, Lachlan and Alfie. It could have caused quite a stir as Louis gained back a lot of time to Josh. I don't know whether he made a mistake somewhere. And Christian has managed to get by Lachlan, who's locked up and gone straight on. And he's gotten a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. I'm not sure. I think that could be removed as he lost 2 places from it. There's no way. I'd be surprised if that will stand at the end of the Grand Prix unless he doesn't want it removed. But if he does, I'm sure it will be removed. Flicks locks up going into the chicane. Is he going to get past his teammate? He's going to have to if he wants as many points as possible out of this and to lead the championship after the race. But he's going to fly past using that DRS advantage on his teammate. Louis not going to make it that hard as he's got a championship to fight, but so does Louis, as their constructors pretty much sewn up for the title. It won't be confirmed this race, but potentially the next it could. But these two are now just going to battle for the drivers, as it'd have to be some major bottle from Mercedes to let Red Bull back in. Even if Red Bull DNF'd both cars in this race and Mercedes finished 1 and 2, they still wouldn't clinch the title just yet. Seeming if it was unfair. He is all over the back of his former teammate and rival, Alfie. 4 attempts to separate them. Half a second now. But we could see a move this lap. Lachlan's looked like, oh, commentator's curse. I did say he looked like he has improved over the last few races, as he's made that mistake and dropped way out of the second to now 2.5. But regardless of that, he has improved slightly over the last few races as he's achieved 2 P4 finishes in a row. Maybe there's just a few mistakes happening between the drivers behind. But Flix has gained so much in that second sector. He's all over the back of the Red Bull. This could be the lap we see him move. Here he comes into 130R. He's all over the back of him. He's had to swerve out of the way. Into the chicane. Flix is going to go for the dive bomb. He goes straight on. And is Josh going to have him on the exit? He does. Josh is back ahead as he's going to have to see the position. But that was pretty close between the two drivers as Flix was forced off the circuit by a lockup. A mistake he's made. Very rare mistake by Flix. But that's costed him a chance at an overtake and maybe worn his tyres very slightly. Should we see a move this lap? And there's a yellow flag. Between in the second sector, it's the Aston Martin of Pepe. And he's made contact with Daniel after making a mistake. I'm not sure what happened there with him. But he's gone for a dive bomb into the hairpin and made contact. The two new drivers come together, but up ahead, this is going to be a big one. Flix to the inside of Josh. He's ahead. Going into turn 1 and Josh has spun. And he's gone off the circuit. Josh has spun and lost the place. He couldn't hang it out round the outside. He's continued on. Flix has just lost loads of time. I'm not sure what for. Maybe he slowed down a little. I'm not sure what that was about. But Josh just nearly ruined his race. As he was completely sideways through turn 2. And Flix has let him by. Maybe they made contact and he let him by. I'm not sure on the screens here. I didn't see any contact. Possibly Flix knew he made the contact and gave the position back. But now here comes Louis. He's not going to care about giving positions. He's going to want to come and take them, if anything. And now a second to separate 3 up at the top. This could be pivotal for the title between the drivers, as Christian seems to be nowhere in sight between the top 3. Josh has the pace after making that small mistake. Oh, albeit Flix might have made the contact and forced him into that half spin. Here we go then. Is Flix going to get the move done this lap? Louis going to be within DRS of his teammate. Into the pit lane he goes. And Josh is off and he's hit the barrier. Coming out of the final corner, he's lost the car and he's into the barrier. And that is huge. His end plate's completely come off and he's sustained damage. Flix has gone into the pit lane. Louis will lead the Grand Prix for now. Flix is into the pit lane. Onto the soft tyre he goes. Christian is in too, and so is Alfie. Slow him down. He's locked up into the chicane, but he's kept the car rolling. As Louis into the pit lane, he's continued on. Louis has continued on, and Josh is going to enter the pit lane. Now, Flix is going to just come into view into the final chicane. Will he be ahead of Josh? As he wasn't by the time he did enter the pit lane, but as soon as he actually crossed the white line, he was actually ahead of Josh as he was in the barrier. But there we go then. Josh onto the hard tyres. Flix is going to be well ahead of his teammate. And that is going to cause problems for Red Bull. And not only Red Bull, it's going to cause problems for the individual drivers' championships as Mercedes. Once again, 1 and 2. After Louis' pit stop, we could see it all change. Daniel's gone into the pit lane and he has been given a 10-second time penalty. It will be reduced down to 5 due to the new rules of BRL. But that could just be very, very important, that mistake. And Christian and Josh are very close to each other now. So many seconds separate them, as Josh did have to change his front wing, and of course that is going to take up a lot of time. Very close and battling. Louis into the pit lane now. He's going to be on to probably the soft tyres, I believe, as those tyres don't look too bad for 10 laps. As Mercedes made the right call to not double stack when they had. Flix is going to come out. Fastest lap into the lead of the Grand Prix goes Flix. Didn't even matter that he qualified 4th. He's going to lead the race anyway. As he's slowing down on circuit, I'm not sure what for. What's going on with Flicks? He's slowing down. Is he going to help his teammate? He slowed down just enough to be within a second of Louis. Not sure what is happening between these two Mercs. They're going to cause problems. He slowed down just enough to keep Louis behind. This is very odd. I'm not sure what is happening between these two. But they're going to start battling. So he's come very close. And Flicks has gone wide. And on the exit, Louis might get him. To the inside, Flicks is going to go down the straight. And they're very close. But Flicks is going to remain in the lead. I'm not sure why he slowed up so much. Just to let Louis back in with a battle. And then, I'm so confused. Up ahead, Louis is going to go around the outside. We could see a move into 130R. Louis is going to take the car into 130R. What a move by Louis to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Going on to lap 12, we have a new race leader. Coming out of the final corner, Flicks is going to have DRS, I believe. He will. And will that mean that he will retake the lead? Here he comes, Flicks. 3 attempts, Louis picks the inside line. Round the outside, that's nice and easy for Flicks. He retakes the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. And Louis is going to come back at him, but not enough to make a move. I'm really unsure why Flicks decided to go so slow. Coming out of turn 2 last lap. Maybe he's got on board and decided he wanted to have a battle with his teammate, which I'm really confused about. Louis is still remaining within 2 attempts of him. He's probably getting a little bit frustrated and confused why his teammate's acting the way he is and not just driving. Flicks came across him, nearly took her front wing off. But here comes Louis. He's going to want to move on his teammate. Down the straight he goes. He's by before 130R this time. And he's going to save his battery going down the straight. He's going to want as much as possible to negate the power of the DRS and battery used by Flicks. As he's now separated by 6 attempts. Here comes Louis. As they're going to swap again. Flicks back by his teammate. Not sure what is going on between these two. It's a really odd battle shaping up. It seems like they don't want to drop back, and it's like they both want the lead, but they're doing it in a very odd way. I'm not sure whether there's some team orders going on here, or Flicks has purposely dropped back, because there's a lot of time there. The Red Bulls have shaved out of them. And Louis is going to go to the inside of his teammate, and they've banged wheels, and this is a feisty battle going on between these Mercs. I can't really tell, but there's only 4 seconds to separate him and Josh. Is Flicks trying to help Josh in any way? Into 130R, Louis got him back on his teammate. But if Flicks is trying to help Josh, I don't understand why he'd be trying to help by slowing himself up to help Josh in the battle. I'm really confused. And into the corner. Oh, it's going to be really close into turn 1. As Flicks was getting ever so closer with the DRS. But Louis is ahead of his teammate now. He hasn't been overtaken down the straight or into turn 1, as he's going to have the rest of the lap in the lead. And then trying to overtake him himself when he's behind. I honestly don't understand it. I don't know what the plan is here. But Louis is going to start lap 15 even. In the lead. Flicks is going to go to the inside and overtake his teammate. Back into the lead Flicks goes. Now will we see him back him into Josh? Maybe he's hoping to back them two together and force a battle, maybe a collision. Maybe he can get an extra few points on them if they do that. I just can't see it at the moment. His true rival at the moment is actually Christian, as Christian's actually a point ahead of Flicks. Louis is 3 points behind him. He's actually hindering his own team. As if I was the Mercedes boss, I'd be fuming at the moment, but I have no idea what's going on between them. Obviously, I'm just here to watch the racing. I'm really unsure what is going on here between these cars, but Louis is back past his teammate into 130R. Could we see Flicks get back past down the next straight? Josh is now within DRS range. So this is very interesting. This is some spectacle right now. I have no idea what is going on. Flicks, is he going to go for the move on the inside? He doesn't. He backs out. He goes for the cautious, safe option. The right option, I would say, to continue on behind his teammate. All the lights flicker as they're charging, getting ready for the extra power down the straight, as there could be a swarm of cars heading Louis' way. Here comes Flicks. Is he going to go for an overtake this lap? It'd be a bit optimistic. He's really close. He's going to go for the dive bomb, does Flicks? On the inside, but he doesn't get it. Louis manages to hang it around the outside to keep hold of the move. There's a yellow flag back there between one of the Aston Martins. I don't know whether I think it was Pepe. But fortunately for him, he's continued on. Trying to see where he can make a move. To the inside, Flicks. They're very close, wheel to wheel. And Flicks is back past his teammate. He's going very slow through this part of the circuit, and Louis back past. This is really intense, feisty racing by the drivers. And Flicks is going to be all over his teammate. As we have 2 laps remaining, into the chicane we go. Is there going to be a move happening for anyone? Josh is still in 3rd place, eagerly wanting to get past, I'm sure. On the hard tyres, the softs are going to have the benefit of the pace. Here comes Flicks again. He's going to go for the move on his teammate to the inside. He's done it for now. Louis giving him a tap on the rear. But as they continue on, Josh is going to be by Louis. And that's a good overtake. Round the outside, Josh is into the lead by a brilliant double overtake out of the 2nd corner. Josh is into the lead of the Grand Prix. And the Mercedes have royally messed that up. Josh is into the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. He's only got a lap and a half to go, and he will see the checkered flag. Flicks is now off into the gravel, and his teammate has gone by. Oh my goodness, this is an insane ending, as they're now all going to be separated by 2 seconds by a massive mistake by his teammate. And Josh, the whole order of the top 3 has completely switched around. Josh is now winning the race with not long to go. Louis P2, Flicks P3, and Christian hasn't been able to gain any time back and he's P4. It's been an absolute season for Josh. There's been highs and lows. He's not going to think about that now. Round the final corner, Josh is going to win the Japanese Grand Prix. Red Bull stand on top. Mercedes finish 2 and 3. To finish off the podium. That's going to be a bit controversial towards the end of the season. Christian championship leader, formerly championship leader, finishes 4th, as Flicks will take to the lead of the championship, and the rest will follow as they finish. Alfie P5. I'm sure the rest will finish as is.